Welcome to the Books Between Friends podcast.
3 lifelong friends,
one shared obsession.
Books.
From epic fantasy to page-turning thrillers.
We dive into the stories we love
And the ones we just can't stop talking about.
So take a seat,
Grab a drink,
and get cozy. Welcome back, friends. Speaking of cozy, what's your cup of cozy today? So tonight I am drinking a glass of red wine. When I think of cozy, I think of like, what do I like drinking when I want to be comfortable? When I'm sitting on the couch, I'm just having time to wind down. I really love just drinking a glass of red wine. So what is your cup of cozy?
So I am drinking a Diet Dr. Pepper because I'm going to need the caffeine. I've just had like a really drowsy feeling day and I want to be like on it for this episode. I'm so excited for it.
I totally feel you. I love both of those journeys for you. If any listeners can relate, I've been taking some semaglutide to help, lose my weight. And I am very nauseated. So I'm sticking with water today. I'm not super fun, but it is not dampening my spirits because I'm very excited about this episode.
Well, honestly, I really hate that side effect. Like when I tried it, that was the biggest side effect I had and I hated it.
Well, I'm almost 60 pounds down, so I'm going to keep on.
That's awesome. So,
amazing.
Guys, like, I cannot believe it's already been a month since we celebrated Ethan's birthday, which was also the same weekend that we recorded our final Onyx Storm episode. Like, I still can't get over the ending. I'm still not okay. Like, definitely not okay. Like, what the heck was that? I don't even remember talking about it because I felt so like emotional just getting through that episode.
I was still processing that ending for like weeks afterwards. And it still kind of interrupts my thoughts every now and then. So
no, that ending, you read it and then you flip to the next page and it's blank and you just see acknowledgments on the next page. And I'm like, what the hell? God. And I saw an interview with Rebecca Yarros, and she was saying, y'all, that was not my fault. I did not know that the publishers were planning on doing that. And she's like, I'm sorry.
That the acknowledgements page was going to be the next page, or that she was going to end it that way?
The blank page.
That it was formatted in such a way that it ended on that page, and you flipped it, and it was immediately acknowledgements.
Okay, that's funny. Either way, though, like it's been actually really funny. So I've been trying to stay away from social media, even though we've already finished the book. Like, I'm not scared of spoilers anymore, but I've been trying to stay away from other people's predictions, in anticipation for our episode today, because I wanted to be true to our own theories and predictions. But I will say one of the videos that I like really enjoyed watching has been people's reaction to the ending, and I have watched so many and just laughed so hard because it's like, yes, that is exactly how we all felt.
Right.
My feelings are validated. Yeah.
Yes. So crazy, y'all. So crazy. We're so excited to dive into a special bonus episode of Books Between Friends. Today, we're diving into every single theory and prediction, and we had a lot, that we made about Onyx Storm. Did we call it? Were we off? I don't know. But we are going to tally up our wins and our misses. And of course, we're ending the episode with our wildest and most hopeful predictions for the next 2 books. And then giving our Onyx Storm ratings for the book. And it's kind of funny because we each had a different rating for this book, even though we each loved this book so much. So I'm so excited to get into this episode with you guys. Let's get started. All right, friends. So one of the themes that we really seem to talk a lot about during our episodes were about Andarna and Dragonkind and some of their mysteries that they had. One of the things that I know we mentioned several times was when Andarna mentioned her scales changing and whether that was going to have like a big emphasis on maybe a cure or helping Xaden out. We even talked about like maybe the changing of her scales being connected to different colors for the different dragons, maybe giving them different powers. And then we even questioned the fact that Violet was able to communicate with her dragons when everybody else couldn't. And so there was just a lot of talk around Andarna. And so one of the things that we were able to actually confirm was that Andarna was magic itself. And that's why Violet was able to communicate with her. But everything else really hasn't been confirmed yet. Like, we don't know very much about her scales. We don't know if the Arids are connected to a cure, even though they said that there is no cure. We still don't know what that could mean in books 4 and 5. So, and the other thing too, like, we just don't know much about the Arids. When we met Leothan, he didn't get very much about their kind. So we're hoping we get more answers in books 4 and 5.
So another theme that we had throughout the book was about violence. I always do that. Let me try this again. So another theme that we came up with, obviously a lot in this book, is all about Violet's second signet and what it could possibly be. Obviously, that was probably the number one question of every Fourth Wing reader going into this book, is what her second signet was. And we had so many theories throughout this book. It was actually kind of funny. So some of the top hits, if we want to say it that way, was time travel. I think I might have been the one that came up with that one. Obviously, no, we know that's not right. And then we also really hit upon like a prophecy theory a lot, like, is she a chosen one or something like that? And then again, we were tying it into like her dad's tomes that she got from Deverelli, and like, again, tying in that prophecy theory. So honestly, a lot of these were either we were totally wrong or we have yet to confirm. Maybe we'll get some of these confirmed in the next books. However, Jen did tie in Violet's dreams from Iron Flame, and she actually came up with like that being part of her second signet. And as we all know now, it's confirmed, she is a dreamwalker. So even though the two small dreams that came into Iron Flame were things that we didn't really look into until Jen brought it up, that was actually what her second signet was. Yeah. Good job, Jen.
Good job.
I know Rebecca likes to keep that subtle stuff. Like, you have to dig into her. You have to read in between lines with her. Like, what did she not mention but barely mention? That's what's going to be important.
Another theme we came up with, obviously, if we have something about Violet, we have to have something about Xaden. So Xaden's transformation and his ultimate fate, right? This was a major theme that we picked up on with a lot of individual theories tied to it. So the temptation to channel, right? We thought that would pick up speed as the book went on, and obviously the temptation was always there. Did he always act out of that temptation? No, but you know, when he does channel, it's probably fairly addicting, right? To like, and once more. So that obviously came to pass. Love as his last anchor, right? His last anchor to humanity, and pretty much spot on, right? Like that was confirmed. It's what, you know, pulled him back to Drathis, and ultimately probably what led him, you know, in the book to do what he does at the end, right? To leave. Yeah. Then we have Xaden telling Violet that she's the only one who can kill him, is foreshadowing her having to kill him when he fully turns. That's a doozy. Right. Did it happen in this book? No. Could it happen in another one? I don't know. The jury's still out.
To say?
But, you know, this book does not end that way. Instead, it goes kind of the opposite direction, and they're married instead. So, you know, who's to say? There was a clip that we released recently about Xaden possibly being the ultimate betrayal, right? Of him turning Violet in to the Venom, and because we saw it in the dream, right, of something like that going on, but in fact he's not referring to Violet, he's referring to Sigale. And so, you know, little subtleties like that Jen, you were mentioning earlier, that Rebecca's really good at kind of misleading us, right?
Yep.
And then when we finally get to the right. Yeah. And then when we get to that point, we're like, oh, that makes sense. And wow, reveal. And then, yes, Xaden leaving, right? I feel like this was one that we came back to on and off.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. Yeah.
And, you know, this one actually does come to pass, and, you know, very reminiscent of Edward Cullen leaving Bella straight up and like, don't look for me. Right. That's very Edward Cullen-ish. Yes. So
totally.
Yeah. Xaden.
But there's no way she's not going to look for him.
Yeah, no.
Duh.
Yeah.
She's got to figure out what she's going to do now that she doesn't remember 12 hours of her day. So the other one kind of goes back to whenever her second signet gets revealed. We started coming up with so many theories as far as like how is dreamwalking going to help, or how is it going to be used as a weapon? Because it got mentioned twice where, actually no, just once, where Leothan said you gave her something even more powerful than the lightning, and so that was her dreamwalking ability. So we are very curious to see how that's going to turn out in books 4 and 5, because it got mentioned that she can meddle in her dreams. And so we kind of came up with a theory that we thought she might be able to change the past, because we kind of tied that into the time traveling theory that, Stephanie came up with. So that's not really confirmed yet. So we can't say that's a hit or miss, because we don't know. She
barely even discovered it herself.
Exactly. She just tapped into this theory, or she just tapped into this ability. We don't know what she'll be able to do, how many dreams she can walk into. We just know it's dangerous. So we will get more info for that one, because I really want to know. I believe that this will be big, because if she can meddle and she can actually make things happen and change things, I feel like that's going to have a huge implication in books 4 and 5. Like, just
for sure.
Okay, so
and also like whose dreams can she walk into? I'm really interested in knowing that. Like, is it just humans, or does that include dragons and venom? Like, this has so much potential, y'all.
Not just meddling, but like if I'm going off of dream lore, right? Like if you die in your dream, you die in real life. So meddling could be like she just murk someone.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Totally.
To be honest, wow. There's just so much that can happen. I mean, even Rebecca confirmed that she has only accessed 5% of her dreamwalking abilities. Like, y'all, she is going to get even more powerful. If she can already meddle now, she needs to write this book now.
Can we time travel to the next book?
To the future. Yeah. Let's dreamwalk in Rebecca Yarros's mind. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so the next theme that we came across a lot was who was the rat? And we got it so wrong, you guys. I honestly feel like there are still more out there.
Yes.
But we never came to the actual rat, which at the end of the book was confirmed to be Panchek, which, like, we talked about it in our final episode. At least me and Ethan were both disappointed in who it was. But throughout the book, we were just like throwing out all kinds of names. But like, our favorite ones were, of course, Brennan, which jury's still out on Brennan, I think. Eric, which was completely wrong. He was actually helping her out.
Yep.
And then I came up with Takaris, which honestly, I feel like it's still a potential. But, I
don't think so.
That's see.
That's just me, though. I definitely agree that Brennan could be still super sus. So, like, I think overall, we all agree that Brennan is sus. I'm just so glad that Eric is not, because he was just being sus because of his signet. Yeah. He was a precog, So, like, of course he's not going to tell everybody that he can do that. But, yeah, Panchek, it wasn't up there for me. I didn't know it was going to be him.
I didn't even, like, think about him.
We got that one
honestly
wrong.
Throughout this book.
Well, because
his name
why
was
would
probably
you?
mentioned like once in this book, twice.
He's such a minor character that I like. Yeah. Like, okay, he's been
so high up.
Big whoop.
Like, yes, he's a minor character, but he's pretty high up there with leadership. Y'all all know
this whole time I've been thinking all of leadership is corrupt. Right. So whatever. But honestly, you guys like really turned me around on the Brennan theory. I was not accepting it at the beginning. I just couldn't see it, but like, in true Rebecca Yarros fashion, especially at the end with what happened while he was mending Mira. And, Violet noticed that when Sloane's hand came away from siphoning, it didn't leave a mark. And the mark that he has, he told Violet before that it was from a siphon.
Oh, that's so right.
Like, what?
There's still more to come with Brennan. I know there is.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like all the way in on the Brennan theory.
I'm going to save my extra Brennan theory for when later down in the episode.
Okay, all right, cool.
Okay, so That goes from some miscellaneous kind of theories about, the rats and trust and such. And we're going to go to bonds, riders, and the lovely Venin, right? So Venin with signets, right, really kind of threw everyone off. We're like, why, oh my God.
We're just so excited.
Yeah.
I know, right?
When Theophany enters the scene and we see her wielding, we're like, what the hell? Like, we didn't know that they could do that.
And the silver hair.
Right. And so all of this really, I feel like this is really when our predictions started firing off. Like, this is when we started really getting into it. And one of our ideas was like, well, were these Venin once riders? Is that why they have a signet? And kind of confirmed with Xaden being Venin, right? He's a rider. He has a dragon. He can still wield, right? He can still channel. But not all Venin were once riders. So that doesn't have to be true. So there's still different layers that we could come into as we progress into the other books. What happens to dragons? Well, Theophany, even at the end, says you can still keep your dragon, So dragons don't have to go away even if you become a Venin. And we see that with Xaden and Sigale again, right? Like that serves as a lot of our proof going forward. Even Jack, right? Still had his dragon before he killed him. So it's still a little unclear, but it appears that riders can still keep their dragons. This was my theory. Sigale protecting herself from Xaden so that he doesn't manipulate and control her like Jack did his dragon. I'm not so fond of this theory anymore. I could still see it being somewhat true, but ultimately with Xaden's POV chapter, there's not as much tension there.
Right.
As I would have suspected if that had been the case.
I could still see it being her protecting herself from the sage who apparently wanted something with her,
That's true. Yeah, absolutely.
She seems very loyal to Xaden, though.
For sure. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then specifically talking about Venin, is Violet already turning? Like, is she Venin? Maybe, and that's where, Steph, you came with the idea, like maybe that's how Theophany can track her so easily, right? Because she knows where she is. She's honing in on her. Not the case because Dune, right? Dune explaining her uniqueness, her silver hair and the like.
Yeah.
Jen, your theory, Violet might also turn to be with Xaden. She didn't turn. Doesn't mean she won't, right?
Just not this book.
Married,
she won't.
so.
Just not this book,
Yeah, not this book. So that's not the case here. Future is still open. Okay, she could still turn. It's equal opportunity to turn Venom.
She just loves him so much. Like, I don't see why she wouldn't turn for him if there's no cure.
If that was the only option, like the last resort.
If there is absolutely no hope for Xaden, I can see her joining him rather than fighting him. But again, thankfully in this book, she didn't. She did the right thing and didn't turn, even though Theophany taunted her, even to the end. So I'm very proud of her for that. What I really loved about this book was that there was that tie to the gods and goddesses in the different temples and everything like that. So that was so interesting. I love the Isle Kingdom chapters were probably my favorite to read. We got introduced to like a whole new world, so many new characters, so many new things to the magic system. Like I loved it. So we really focused and honed in on Violet's hair and like, what did that mean? Because there was a few things that we noticed, like obviously her hair is half gray. She noticed Theophany had gray hair. She noticed that one of the priestesses that she ran into and all the, what are they called? The attendings? No.
The attendants at the temple. And
all the attendants that she met when she was at Umbriel, like I was like,
Grey's Anatomy?
About Grey's Anatomy, yes. So all the attendants that she saw at Umbriel, like they all had gray hair, and then she saw a girl that had half gray hair, just like her. So there was obviously a lot of focus around that. So obviously we focused on that too. And we knew that there was something with the temple, something with that, and there was just a little bit of talk on being dedicated because of course Rebecca being Rebecca, like she had all those quotes at the very top of the chapters, and so every time I read one of those I was like latching onto it, and there was one on dedication, and so we definitely got that confirmed where she was partially dedicated to Dune at Umbriel, and that's why her hair is the way that it is. So I was really happy that we got, answers for that. One of the things that we discovered was that Theophany was actually a priestess of Dune. And so one of the theories that we came up with that is that why Andarna couldn't burn her at the end? Because she used to be a priestess. So we don't really know that answer yet, but we do know that that's actually how Violet did kill her, was because she took a dagger made of stone from the temple, and that's the only thing that could kill her. Right. Because Theophany was very powerful because of the fact that she used to be a priestess. So like I loved that whole twist to that, because honestly didn't see that coming, where I didn't know Theophany was going to be a priestess of Dune.
And then the last theme that we came up with in our theories throughout the book was about the cure and theories revolving magic. So we were so hopeful that the tomes that Asher wrote for Violet would contain maybe knowledge on the cure or where the irids were, and unfortunately they did not. Sadly, they had a lot of great information that actually helped them in their quest to find the irids, but yeah, no cure. But honestly, I like, has she read through them all? I'm not sure if like maybe we just haven't gotten to something that's like a key factor.
She actually doesn't even talk about that. Like she doesn't talk about reading all the tomes.
Exactly. So I wonder if maybe she's still like making her way through them and hasn't gotten to like one major key piece of information. Mm-hmm. We'll see. And then again, of course, about the cure and irids and signets. So unfortunately, irids are, at least for this book, not connected to any type of cure for venin. But we're hopeful that maybe her dreamwalking signet could have something to do with it. Whether that be time travel, meddling in like actual behaviors in real life, who knows? We'll see. Again, we've only seen 5% of the signet in Violet, so, and we know that even the irids are scared of whatever potential this could have, so I can't wait to see what that is. And then finally, Xaden and Violet, and like Xaden potentially, again, bringing it back to, could he be the ultimate betrayal? How he seemed to be almost drawn to or craving her power. Thankfully, that didn't come to be. So we'll see. I know there was a moment where you
guys thought that he was like wanting her power when they were being intimate. Like, when he was asking her to be at full power. Like, I know that y'all thought maybe he's just trying to get her power from her whenever she was doing that. So I know that we talked about it several times.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I mean, he might still be drawn to her power because she is so powerful. And obviously he has said several times that it's tempting to him to channel from the earth. But ultimately we know like his love for Violet trumps everything.
All right, friends. So now we're going to talk about our favorite theories and predictions. We're each going to pick one that we really stuck with or we really liked. And Ethan, why don't you tell us yours?
Okay. So I had such a hard time because it came down to two, right? It came down to two of my favorites, and I ultimately went with this one. So a theory that I came up with that I think might be revealed in probably the next book, because after this one there's only one other, is that dragonkind, or maybe even specifically the irids, because they seem to be all knowing, blah blah blah, very holier than thou, right?
Yep.
I think they created the venin. I think that it was kind of like Jurassic Park, right? A science experiment gone wrong. They had probably very good intentions on when they created the venin, like because they always said that they wanted peace, right? And if I think about at the core of venin, not with their evilness but they seem like neutrality, right? Mm-hmm. Neutral, making everything gray. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so, like that's a form of peace. It may not be the best, but it is a form. And so I think that's how the venin came to be. And they eventually gathered their own intelligence, their own sentience, and became what they are that we see in these books.
I think that's a solid theory, to be honest. Like the irids, they said to Andarna when they were talking to them that they didn't bond with writers. Like that's not a thing that they did, right? And so maybe, I could see it being that irids decided to teach humans to channel so that they wouldn't have to bond. And then, you know, that went awry.
Nice. I did not think of that. Okay. All right, you guys. Steph, what was your favorite theory this book?
This is going to be no surprise to anyone, I'm sure. I have been harping on this one since Fourth Wing, I think. But, you know, my whole theory that the network of Venin in Navarre goes all the way up to King Tari. Obviously, it hasn't been confirmed in this book, but I just feel like there have just been too many instances where leadership in Navarre just seem like their motivation is not for a cure. It's not for winning this war against Venin. It's not for understanding how to actually get rid of Venin. So I'm still suspecting the king. Maybe, again, he's not Venin. Maybe he's being controlled by Venin, or maybe he's being manipulated by Venin. But I just think it's like, I still see it throughout this book, you guys. So,
I mean, I think that's fair, because my biggest thing was when was she a second year? She like channeled in the middle of like Signet sparring or something.
Yeah.
Like nobody blinked an eye.
Barely batted an eyelash.
Nothing happened. Like to me, that's when I was like, all right, Steph is onto something. Because I'm like, how did nobody do anything about that?
How come Panchek was able to keep Jack at Biscayeth, getting no information from him without killing him? And why did they spend all that time during Iron Flame mending him after Violet supposedly killed him? It's just, there's got to be something there.
Yeah.
So that's mine.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that definitely has some merit.
So my favorite one was the connection, because I didn't exactly call her second signet because I didn't know what dreamwalking was a thing, right? Like I didn't know that was a signet. I didn't know the name to it. I knew there had to be some kind of connection with the dreams that she was having and the fact that she had already manifested her second signet. So that was my favorite theory whenever we were talking about Onyx Storm. And honestly, like, this is why I know there's like a million books to read. And we were actually just talking about this earlier today. There's so many books to read, and I want to get to them all. Like, I can't figure out what I want to read next. But this is why sometimes I do reread things, or this is why I do have audiobooks, because I read a book once, right? And you get this, like, it's so good, but then you go back, you reread it again, you pick up on so many different things. But for me, it was listening to the book that I started picking up on the dreams. It was like, wait, what was that dream significant? Like, wait, it happened again. But then it happens again in Onyx Storm. I'm like, why is it just like picking here and there? I was like, there has to be some kind of significance. And so I brought it up, and it turned out to be that's her second signet. So I was really happy about that. I was really excited that I actually got it, because I feel like everyone had theories on her second signet, and I didn't see very many people like tying it back to her dreams. And so I was just like, I got something right, guys.
No, that was a good call.
Yeah.
That was a good call.
Yeah.
I mean, because I remember when we finished Iron Flame and Onyx Storm wasn't even out yet, and you had already honed in on the dreams. And so kudos to you.
Yeah. All right, guys. So it was hilarious that we tallied these up, because we came up with so many. Like, we really did. And I'm not going to lie.
What was our final outline? Like 15 pages of just theory?
Pages of just theories, y'all. This is how many we came up with. Like, every time we thought of a new thought, we were like, oh, wait, but. So.
Yeah.
And we could rationalize it to make it true.
Everything.
Right. And we would come up with things like on the fly as we were having discussion.
Yes.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I think Violet is an alien.
Yeah.
Honestly, the adopted one kind of threw me for a loop. I'm like, y'all, she's not adopted.
Listen, I had reason.
Yeah.
Okay? She's the only one in her family with silver hair. Okay?
I was just given an example of how we would come up with all of these different ones, right? Okay. So we were able to confirm or have 8 correct theories, okay? And that's just going off of the fact that we finished this book, right? There's still so many maybes up there. So that's what's going to come with this next number, y'all. We had about 75 that were either not confirmed or we had incorrect. So there you go, guys. Safe to say we got a few recent predictions correct.
Yes, A plus.
Well, I don't know if that math works out. 8 out of 75.
Come on.
I will say though, this has been like the most fun just talking about what we think about it, because a lot of the times, like as readers, we do sit on our couches or like we sit in a comfy chair, we're reading this alone and we're just thinking of all these things that we want somebody to talk about. And so I don't care that we got this many wrong. It was just so much fun, like going through every single one and like having somebody that got it. Like you guys get it. You get where our obsessions are coming from. And so that's what I really loved about this piece. And so I can't wait. Honestly, we're going to come up with probably a million more theories and predictions.
Honestly, I feel like it's more fun because like as we were discussing it, like Ethan, you would say something and that would make like a light bulb go off in my head, and then I would come up with a crazy theory, and then Jen would like hop on that train and like add to it. So
domino effect.
Yeah, exactly. So this is like my favorite part of enjoying books and like getting to discuss it with other people who enjoy them just as much as I do.
So it's not
Obviously,
about being...
it's not it's not about like getting it exactly right. It's about like having fun and having that dialogue with the story. So
because I will say this, like, Ethan's barely starting the Throne of Glass series, but when Steph and I were reading that, we would text so much. And it's funny because we wouldn't call each other. It was always through text. Because we were in the middle of reading while we were texting. So, like, we didn't want to stop the reading, but we were just texting so much. Like, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen to this character? Well, what's going to happen next? Well, what's going to happen with that? So, it's my favorite part about reading, y'all.
Yes, mine too. Whenever I was in the classroom, right? Like, Jen, you did math and science primarily. I did reading and social studies.
Yeah.
And so whenever I would get in, right, for those listening, I taught primarily middle school, and we would read things like Number the Stars for social studies and The Giver, right? Like I've said many times, my favorite book of all time. And just talking about those and seeing the kids light up, that's what made The Giver my favorite book of all time, is the conversations that I would have with my kids. Because I was like, all right, well, you know, we just read this chapter. What do you think is going to happen in the next chapter? Now, what do you think is going to happen at the end of the book, right? Like these are the conversations that make reading so enjoyable and so fun and addicting, right? Because you just want to go to the next one.
Yeah. Let's get into our theories and predictions, because I'm telling y'all, we're going to come up with so many more. So let's get into our theories and predictions for book 4 and 5. And I will say we actually had to make sure that we narrowed it down to like 1 or 2 because we had so many. So I'm so excited to talk about these. And Stephanie actually both of them have 2 really big theories that they haven't even told me. So I am so excited to finally hear them for the first time, because they've already heard mine because I don't know how to keep my mouth shut. But before we get into that, as we each describe or tell what our theory and prediction is for the upcoming books, we will either bond with that idea, which means that we really like that theory or prediction, or we are going to break that idea, which means we do not like that theory or prediction, or we don't think there's any merit behind it. So we're each going to say our theory and prediction going forward, and then the rest of the podcast will say whether they bond with it or they break it. All right? I'm so excited to really get into this. First and foremost, tell you my prediction for the series itself. I'm a romance girly, as the 3 of us. I love romance. Those are my favorite books to read. I love a happy ending. Honestly, like, if a book doesn't have a happy ending, like, why the heck are you even writing this book for me? So for me, my prediction is that Violet and Xaden are totally in game, and I'm calling it now, and I'm gonna stick to it. Even whatever happens in book 4, I am still calling it. They are in game. And the reason I say that is because Rebecca Yarros is actually a romance writer first and foremost. She even said it herself that this series is not a series without Xaden in it. So that, to me, they're in game. I cannot fathom a world where Xaden and Violet are not in game. Like, I think I would be completely heartbroken. That I think I would even cry, like, if it was my own heartbreak. That's how heartbroken I would be if they were not in game. Yes, so that was my prediction for the whole series. Do you guys bond or break it?
I'm I'm going to channel like my inner Raven and Raja from Drag Race doing the review, like a Tudor boot style. And I'm going to like imagine a little sign right here that says bond. I'm going to bond with this one, because I guess the alternative for Violet would be Dane. And y'all, I like Dane. I've said that from the beginning. Like, even though he made some piss poor choices, I still really like Dane. And to me, in this book, it hinted heavily that Dane and Sloane were going to be an up and coming item. And so that relationship with Dane and Violet is no longer there. So that if that was her only alternative, well, that's not there anymore. So it has to be Xaden. Like, it's just got to be. So bond.
Yay, Steph.
And I also bond with this theory or prediction. Yeah, I just, there's nobody else but Xaden. Come on, you guys. Like, nobody else can compare. And like, we love Dane. He has fully redeemed himself at this point.
Yep.
But I bond him and Sloane too. Like, you know, it's not Dane and Violet anymore, like, ever. So, yeah. I
love
bond
Xaden.
Your prediction.
Yay! It's
got to be Xaden.
Okay, so a theory, and I can't take ownership for this, so I'm not going to pretend that I came up with this myself. As I mentioned earlier, I really did try to stay away from social media and everybody's theories and predictions, but like this one I saw and it really stuck with me. So I do want to mention this one, and it was a theory I saw on TikTok. It was about Eric helping Xaden plan for the ending, because as we all know, his signet is precognition. So obviously he knows what was going to happen. Yep. And so he helped Xaden put that plan in place, because let's be honest, like, Violet was not going to easily just be like, okay, you can leave and you can erase my memory. Bye-bye. Like, let's be honest, that's not going to happen. So I think that Eric like helped Xaden set that up to where she was going to be the Duchess and she was going to take over Tyrrendor for him so that he could escape, because now he is probably wanted. Now everybody knows he's been in, right? That's my theory. I think that that's going to come true, or there's going to be more to that in book 4. Again, I cannot take credit for that, but I did want to make sure that that was what I shared, because I think that's correct. Like, I think that there's going to be merit behind it. So, Steph, Ethan, do you guys bond or break with that theory?
I totally bond with that theory. And I'll be honest, like, I still hadn't put it together, like, how Eric knew that Violet needed to protect the Temple of Dune at that battle. And then, you know, it really came together for me when you wrote this down in our outline. And I started thinking about that, like, because they were going to have to get married to save Tyrrendor. That's what he meant by save the temple, save Tyrrendor. So yes, I bond this theory.
Or also, like, he might have saved that temple because they needed that dagger made of stone from that temple to kill Theophany.
Yeah.
So, yeah, either
way, he would need to be, like, communicating with Xaden about this. Yeah. So I bond.
I also bond with that one. I also heard that's like a huge theory on Book Talk right now, that Eric, because of his precognition.
You guys, I have been just like itching to tell you guys my theory.
The bit. Yeah.
Literally. Okay, so let me tell you the backstory of how I came to this theory. So I've been putting together like our social media designs and like content. And one of the things that we do is character spotlights. And when we were reading about the islands, I was putting together a post that kind of described the islands and stuff. And I wanted to find like an image or a graphic of the islands. And I like opened all my books. And you know, like every fantasy novel, there's a map at the beginning, right? Tell me why there's no map of the islands and there's no islands in any of the maps. So then I go, what the heck? I need an image of the island.
Right, yeah.
So I go to Google and I start looking for the islands. And then I start realizing, oh no, like no copy of any of these books have a map with the islands included. So I'm like, there's something there.
Okay.
And here's what I think it is.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to share my screen with you guys. I have visuals, like I said. First of all,
I've been dying to hear this, y'all, so I'm so
I have
excited.
to make the joke that I was literally like this, like Charlie Day, making these crazy connections.
I love him, by the way. He's hilarious.
But okay, so then I went back through like the descriptions of the islands and like their route that they were taking when they were visiting the islands and like mapping it together. So that brings me to this. And the directions that they mentioned throughout the book was, of course, they go to Corden, which is southeast, and then they go south to Deverelli.
Okay.
And then they go southwest to the next two islands, Umbriel, Hedotus. And then they go northwest to Zinal.
Okay.
And then they continue going northwest until they encounter the Irids.
Right.
And then
Which
going
is a
back
minor
to
isle, right?
it's an unknown isle. They don't even know what island this is.
Right. It was a minor one or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not even on the map that they had with them. So when they get to those islands before they encounter the Irids, Garrick said in that chapter, here it goes. Garrick nods and stares out over the water. Technically, on the map, if you were to fly northeast for 2 days, you would hit the cliffs of Draelor. That's in Tyrrendor.
Okay.
So they're here, and he says if you go northeast for 2 days, you would hit the cliffs of Draelor. So he says that when they're in this island, right? So you go northeast for 2 days, and that's Tyrrendor. Now remember, as they're visiting the islands and going further and further out, they start to feel magic at Zinal, and then it gets stronger when at the island where they actually encountered the Irids. And I think that the Irids are actually still on the continent. That's my theory.
So you think they're at Tyrrendor?
Yeah. Because remember, the Irids can change their scales, and they were even invisible to Violet. And they appeared right in front of her because they changed their scales. So I think they've been there the whole time.
Well, they've just been hiding.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, okay, let me give you some more evidence. Leothin appeared in Orisha to fire the wards.
Yep.
Out of nowhere.
Right.
At a very convenient time.
Yep.
They were about to lose that battle.
They were,
if he hadn't done that.
No, they were, yeah.
And then Andarna came back all of a sudden, again, at a very convenient time. And remember, Andarna has that one wing that she has trouble flying with, and sometimes she needs Terran's help to fly. So, like, she wouldn't have made this long journey on her own.
Dude, how did you put that together? Like, I didn't even...
I'm telling you, I was going in on this theory.
I would not even have thought about the whole comment. But again, it goes back to the pattern that we talked about, right? Like, she throws in these, like, one-liners, like...
Yeah, I went back through the island, like, when they were talking about the islands, that whole section, and read, and, like, mapping the directions, and, like, I was crazy, y'all. This took me, like, a whole weekend to put together.
That's awesome.
I think they're still on the islands. I think Andarna never left the continent with Leothin because they're still... Or, sorry, not on the islands, on the continent.
Okay. All right.
So that's my theory, you guys. Do you bond or do you break?
I definitely bond. I can see where there's a lot of merit behind that, especially with the final battle, like you talked about. Like, unless they knew that was going to happen, it would have taken them days to get there. And how would they have known about the battle unless they were actually... like seeing it happen firsthand, right? Like, there was no way they would have shown up on time to save them. So I think with that piece alone, like, I definitely bond with your theory.
I bond.
Yay!
But like, okay, so this is just what it is, right? This, I feel like we're back in one of our episodes, and like, oh, you said this, oh, you said this, oh,
right,
like,
yeah,
and like, what if this happened? But hearing that and like sound reasoning, and if they can really blend in and camouflage, yeah, there's no telling where they've been, right? They could, at first when you said that, I was like, well, if they get close to you, don't you start hearing a ringing like in your ears? But no, that's only when they want you to.
Yes,
right.
So
right.
yeah, so I was like, well, no, that doesn't make any sense anymore. So
and they were feeling the magic getting stronger as they approach the ears.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And remember, when they're on the continent, they feel it the strongest.
Right.
Right.
Dude, that's a good one.
I bond.
Yeah, I strongly bond this one.
I'll be so crushed if it's not true.
Yeah.
All right, what's your prediction?
Okay. Well, I actually have a couple other theories that I just really wanted to mention.
Okay, yeah, mention them.
So my first one is, I have been seeing a lot about like who Xaden's new brother is.
Oh gosh, yes.
And in our final episode, we all just thought it was Panchek.
Right.
But I think there's evidence to suggest that it wasn't Panchek.
Right.
So in Xaden's POV, he mentions that he sees a green dragon, and beyond that dragon, his new brother. And Panchek was right next to him. Mm-hmm. So instead of saying like, Panchek, my new brother, or my brother right here, he said, beyond that dragon, my new brother. And y'all, I think it's Bodhi. Mm-hmm. Because he has a green dragon.
I think it's Bodhi too.
That's my theory.
I strongly bond with that theory because there was a lot of focus. Actually, I take that back. There was focus put on Bodhi and Xaden fighting over Bodhi eventually taking over because Xaden knew he was going to fully become Venom. And Bodhi like actively fighting against it. And he kept saying, I'm supposed to be by your side. I'm supposed to be by your side no matter what. Like, that's how I've always been. That's where I will always be. And so there was just enough emphasis for me to be like, there has to be something going on with Bodhi. So I bond with that theory.
I also bond because there's also mention too that the green dragon, right, is like is laying down, like he can see it in the distance surrounded by wyvern. Is this the same dragon that we're talking about? Yeah,
right.
And why would a dragon be doing that if he weren't injured and couldn't get away?
Right.
And we do hear, like we read before, that Bodhi's dragon was injured. And so that all kind of meshes together. So,
and I could see it being like Bodhi's dragon was injured to the point where Bodhi might have started, possibly dying, because remember, a rider without his dragon is dead. And so maybe the only way to survive that blow, whatever happened to his dragon, would be to channel.
Well, remember the last thing that happened with Bodhi and his dragon was he got caught up in Theophany's storm. Mm-hmm. So it could...
Yeah, and his dragon got knocked out. Remember, it knocked out Terran, and Terran's bigger than any of the dragons.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, in that scene, too, you also see, like, they refer to Bodhi on the ground as, like, retching or throwing up, but a lot of people think that that's him channeling from the earth instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, Ethan, do you bond?
I bond. Yes, I bond.
Okay, yay. And then last one, I just had to mention this. So we didn't pick up on this like when we read it because it was so subtle. But remember, at the very end, when Violet wakes up from having her memories erased, it's Brennan who comes up to her. And he has a reaction, like a shocked reaction to her. Yeah. And like, why would he have that kind of reaction to seeing her unless she's like severely hurt, like bleeding out or something, but she seems fine. So like, why is he shocked to see her? What did he see on her that shocks him? And I think not only did she marry Xaden, I think she fully dedicated herself and her hair is now fully silver.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Break that theory because I think the reason he is so shocked because she's been missing for 12 hours. Nobody has known anything about her. And I think the last thing that anybody has heard was that she was facing off Theophany and killing her. And then the whole, like, Xaden's shadows covering everything up. Like, and then after that, she disappears. That's what I think as far as, like, him being shocked. I don't know that she would have fully dedicated herself because her path is still very unclear. Like, there's still so many things that she hasn't decided. I mean, she doesn't even know what's going on with the fact that she got married. She doesn't know what's going to happen with Xaden. The fact that Andarna is back. Like, Taryn is some resting. Like, what does that mean? Like, what is he resting from? Like, I still think there's so many unknowns that I don't think she finally fully dedicated herself. And I didn't see that as something she would be interested in. So that's my reason why I break this theory, but that's just me.
I think this is going to cause some discussion. So I'm going to break this theory only because I think he's shocked for a different reason. I think he's shocked that she's up and around when Taryn isn't up and around.
Okay.
And the
Like
reason...
maybe they think he's dead?
No, the reason I think Taryn is down is because that's unusual, right? It's like he didn't suffer any big damage. I think I can't take credit for this, but I can really see it being true, is that I think he and Sigale's mating bond has been disbanded.
It would have to be, right? Yeah.
They did talk about Violet's bond being gone. Violet's bond to Xaden being gone.
To Xaden. Yeah.
They did
Yes.
talk about
So-
that.
That could be distance, but like Taryn and Sigale would feel it no matter what. So like if it's gone, it would probably like it would knock him out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think they used Andarna to break the bond because she can do that. She's magic herself.
Right.
Yeah.
So they break the bond, and Xaden tells her, "Don't come looking for me." And she would totally be able to, even if there was still a trace of that bond left. But because Sigale and Taryn's bond has been broken, she no longer has the bond with Xaden. So I think Brennan is surprised she's up and walking around already because Taryn isn't, and because like that's her bond too.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So much happens in 12 hours that we don't know. I hope that book 4 starts off with a prologue of what happens in those 12 hours.
Oh my God.
That would be so good.
We probably won't get that. But
I know, but that'd be so good.
That's probably how maybe book 4 ends. I could see that.
Oh, that would be good.
Okay, that'd be good. Yeah.
Okay, so let me wrap up my section. I have a couple predictions. So my first prediction is that Violet's going to use her dreamwalking ability to communicate with Xaden. And then my second is also connected to this. She's also going to use her compass that she got on the island of Zinal to find him. It's not really broken. It probably points her to him.
I totally bond with both of those because I have definitely thought about how she's going to use her dreamwalking abilities. And I think that you're right. Like the fact that like they both remember what was said in those dreams afterwards, like that, I think that you're right that they could do that. And then second, with the compass, I thought that from the beginning that it wasn't broken. Like whenever she got it, I was like, there's no way this is broken. That guy smirked at her for a reason. And I think each of them got that certain gift for a reason. Like there was, it was not really left to chance or whatever, but like, I think there's something behind the compass too. So I totally bond with that prediction because I was actually thinking about that as well.
Yeah. And you brought it up when we were on that episode. Yeah. What does that compass have? You know, like, what's the significance?
Yeah. And I think that it's, like, it looks broken, but it's because it hasn't been used properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also bond with both. So I bond and there's just like a little fracture of a break with part of it, and I'll explain. Yes, I'll explain why when I get to mine.
Okay. And then finally, going into the next books, I'm just really hoping we find out what the heck Venin are planning. Like, what is their master plan here? Like, they are aggressively going after Violet and Andarna and Sigale. They already got Xaden. Like, what for? Obviously, like, they're all super powerful. Andarna's very rare. but it's not just to collect trophies, of course. What is the master plan behind this? That's what I'm really thinking about going into the next couple books.
All right, Ethan, what are your theories and predictions going into books 4 and 5?
Okay, so I'm going to go back to Taryn's writer before Violet.
Okay.
Naolan, and we know that Naolan has some tie to Brennan, right? I am of the opinion, like many, that Brennan and Naolan were an item. They were romantically involved. And I believe during that battle, right, where Brennan was injured, right, I believe he was fatally wounded, and Naolan channeled to save him because he was a siphon, right? Like he realized probably that his siphoning wasn't working, and the only other way to save him is to channel. So I think that Naolan is a villain, and this is what has made me somewhat change my mind about Brennan. That he's not Venom, he's still sus.
Yeah.
But he has just as much skin in the game as Violet does.
Yes.
He is trying to save Naolan.
Oh my God.
If not by just ending him, right? Like putting him out of his misery, so to speak. I don't think Brennan thinks that there's a cure. He's just wanting to get to him to kind of put an end to it.
He's like the parallel to Violet and Xaden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's Naolan's story.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
I bond.
I was like, go ahead, Steph. I have my thoughts.
No, I totally bond.
Jen's about to break, but
no, it makes so much sense because, like, again, back to when Sloane was siphoning from Dane into Brennan, like it didn't leave a mark, and for some reason, Rebecca Yarros wrote in there that Violet noticed that, and the mark that Brennan has on his wrist, he told Violet, I think it was an iron flame, but when she asked about it, it was from siphoning to like keep him alive. Why would there? It's like a weird rune scar. So yeah, I bond.
It's really hard because I don't necessarily bond or break this theory. Like, I think that it could go either way. So here are my thoughts for both sides. So I think that Naolan got brought up maybe twice, and so that could fit the pattern of Rebecca, of like her only bringing up certain things to make it a big deal later, where it got brought up whenever, you know, they talked about Taryn not ever wanting to bond in Fourth Wing, and, you know, because the last rider died. And then it got brought up again when Taryn said, you know, like when he told Violet, like, you are my last rider, I'm not bonding anymore after this, like if you go, I go. So, like, I think subtly, because it's brought up so little times, it could have some significance later. But then on the other side of things, I'm thinking, like, I don't think so, because of the fact that Taryn did say, like, you are my last rider. Like, I don't think, like, that he's still around. And the other thing I do remember Taryn telling Violet, like, after she accused him of keeping secrets from her, he said, I will never do that again to you. And so, like, he even said, like, I will not keep secrets from you anymore. Because he kept the secret of... What was the secret he kept?
But she hasn't asked.
But still, like, I think Taryn is very open with Violet. Like, I don't think he's keeping secrets from Violet. Like, I think he's keeping Empyrean secrets, like, about the Empyrean itself, okay. But... So
here's that. Okay, go ahead.
But I don't think he's keeping, like, secrets about himself from her.
Okay, so, to that point, I totally get where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can persuade you. So, I think Naolan may be tied to the prophecy, which was my other favorite prediction that I came up with that I didn't say. And if that were true, that would be Empyrean secret. Because to your point, Taryn is very definitive. He said, I've only had one other rider, and you specifically are going to be my last rider.
Yes.
So maybe he had to bond with Naolan in order for Violet's story to come about.
I still don't see merit behind that. That's just me, though.
I'm just saying.
That's just me. Like, I just don't see Naolan being that big of... I don't see him... Like, I think it all goes back to Asher, not Naolan. Like, I think Asher did. I think the prophecy theory has a lot of merit to it, actually. There's so many things that we could talk about, like that. I think the prophecy theory is true. I don't think Naolan has anything to do with it. But again, that's just me. I just didn't see him as a big deal, and I still don't.
Well, okay, so for sure Naolan was Taryn's last rider before Violet, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then we know that Theophany told Violet, if you turn, you can even keep your dragon if you choose to. But I'm sure the dragon has a choice in that too, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he did turn to save Brennan. And then Taryn was because remember how disgusted he is by Xaden. He's like very anti-Xaden now. Maybe when that happened to him, he chose to unbond from Naolan. And then remember when Violet asked him about Naolan, he said, "We do not talk about the one before," or something like that.
But you can only unbond if you're an Arid. They're the only ones that could break the bond.
We don't know that.
So we've been told.
Again, I'm just going off of what is being said. I don't see any merit behind it. We shall see. I hope you guys prove me wrong. We'll see. But I break your theory. That's just me, though.
Okay.
Anyway. Okay, so I do have another one that I'm really excited to talk about.
Okay.
I think we're lining up for a new original 6. I think we are lining up for a new original 6. I think this is why some Empyrean secrets are being held very close to the chest, and why specifically certain marked ones have their second signets to be more powerful. I believe that's why the dragons have chosen their riders in that specific way when it comes to the marked ones, because I think Imogen, I think she is one of the new 6. Violet, obviously, because there's going to be one for each dragon. And so Dane, I think Dane, there's Sloane says that line, like, no one like you should have this much power, right? So I think Dane could be part of the 6. I think either Ree or Mira could be part of the new 6 because they're the green riders. So this goes all the way back to what my original thought was, like at the first chapter, right? Where the different color of dragons has some significance. And I think this is it. Not necessarily that each dragon color has a specific power or ability, but that it's for this reason.
Tied to the 6.
I have a follow-up question just to get clarification. So you're talking about like the 6 strongest riders now, because obviously there's the original 6 that started everything, right? And so you're saying like the 6 of the 6 strongest fighters that we have now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And didn't the original 6 have like the strongest signets?
They did.
That were known?
Yes.
So you're saying now that's getting
it's recreating. Yeah.
Yes, I think that there is an awakening that the continent is going to go through. I think maybe even the Venom become victorious, right? And the new 6 have to really, pave the way for a new world.
I totally bond with that theory because I think that you're right. Like, there has to be some kind of savior moment, right? Where like, who's going to come save the day? Clearly, it's not Xaden anymore. They've clearly taken him out of the picture now that there is a new shadow wielder. What is that going to mean for the 6 that you're talking about? So yeah, I can see there being more to that storyline, definitely in books 4 and 5.
When Xaden and Violet were talking about the marked ones having 2 signets, he said, enough that we know it might have been on purpose, So,
but not enough for other people knew.
Right. So like in secret, maybe they've been plotting this out to create a new 6 that I bond. Yes.
Okay. So maybe an extension, maybe this is going too far. I could see it maybe going too far, but an extension could be that each one of the 6 is a dedication of a god or goddess, right? Because there's been a lot of emphasis on the religion in this book and the different isles, right? And we still don't know about Loisum. There's a question mark on Loisum, right? Maybe that's like a 7th god or goddess that we haven't been introduced to, and that's where maybe where the Irids come in. So instead of an original 6, there would be a 7.
Loisum has to do with Loyal, the god of love.
Yeah.
Okay, then we can edit out that part.
No, but I will say
back to my little chart. Hold on. I think you're onto something. Hold on.
I was going to say you are not the only one that thinks that there are seven dragon breeds, 7 gods or goddesses, and 7 isles.
Okay, well, there's 5 that were talked about in the book.
Right.
Deverelli, Umbriel, Hedotis, Loisum, Zelna. What if the continent is one of the islands?
That's what I'm saying. Like, we don't know.
Because that's
2,
Amari,
3, 4,
right?
5.
That's right. Amaris, yeah.
And so people on the continent just call it the continent, but the rest of the islands call it Amaralis after Amari. So if they're all tied to a god, then that's the god Amari.
And what about Malik? He's a different god.
Malik, what would that be?
Exactly, we don't know. What if that's...
Would that be like...
Deverelli?
No, would that be like Tyrandor?
Another island?
Because Deverelli doesn't worship any gods.
Yeah.
But Malik is definitely a god, so that would be like its own island, and that hasn't been talked about yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think there's definitely some merit behind the fact that, like, there's a tie between the original 6, but there really being 7 breeds, and so, like, maybe there are, like, the 7 strongest fighters, and that kind of being, like, what's going to save mankind, because we're kind of in a middle period where, like, we see no hope, right? And so there has to be some kind of, like, what is it, the climax point where, like, this is where these people are going to come and save the day, and we're starting to see who are the more powerful now that everybody's little signets are kind of coming out. The more signets that they have, the more powerful they are.
Yeah. So for your gods theory, I feel like there's definitely more to the gods, especially with how much was like talked about when they were on the islands. And so I'm going to bond the whole gods theory.
Yeah, me too.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, now I have a couple of predictions. So,
okay, let's hear them.
Okay. I'm going to predict that we get the prophecy in book 4. So I really like that was a theory that I've held on fast to. Taryn said, I know exactly who you are, Violet Sorengale. I think that ties into it. He calls her the Silver One and it's capitalized. He refers to Xaden as the Dark One. And so, I think there's a prophecy, and I think that's going to be revealed in book 4. And then my second prediction is that she's going to realize that she can use her dreamwalking ability on dragons. Now, there's the idea, right, that your signet is given to you by a dragon, so it can't be used against a dragon. But this signet came from Andarna, and she is magic herself, right? So I think it can manifest differently. And I think she will be able to use it against dragons.
So to your first, what was the first prediction about?
The prophecy.
The prophecy. Okay, so I totally bond both predictions. So the first one, the reason I do bond that one is because, again, going back to Rebecca's pattern about leaving little subtle hints. So when I was listening to Onyx Storm again, there was a little piece where Jasenia was fighting with Riddick, and Riddick got excited, and he was like, oh my god, you found the tome on the 7th breed, and you have all the answers. And she was like, oh yeah, I found it on the first try. There's even a prophecy that's tied to it, and Violet's going to be the chosen one, and Darnable. I'm like, it got mentioned so subtly where I'm like, oh, there's totally a prophecy, because she's joking about it, but really it's Rebecca telling us, I think there's a prophecy. Okay. So totally bond with that idea. And then the one about her being able to dream walk into dragons, like, I think that's why Leothan was so scared. Yes. Because I think that it could potentially mess with their kind, especially now that they're known, right? Because they've been so hidden for so long. And it's like, now she's going to be able to just like walk into all these people's dreams and learn a lot of their secrets, because she can see a lot of what's happening in the past too. So now she's going to learn all this freaking information because Violet is a scribe.
Maybe that's how she finds out that the Irids are on the continent, if she dreamwalks into Andarna's dreams.
Maybe so, but I also just had this thought. Maybe that's why the Irids never bonded, period, because if you bond with an Irid, you can also use your signet against dragons.
Well, because they're so strong, right?
Yeah.
Like, they could give you such a strong signet.
Very strong signets.
Yeah. So I think that's what I think there's a lot of merit behind that. I think that's what Ethan was so scared of her dreamwalking abilities.
And this goes back to what you said, Steph, about your theory that she's going to dreamwalk into Xaden's dreams. I that's like my little fracture there. I don't necessarily think that's how she's going to find Xaden. I think she's going to dreamwalk into Zagael's dreams, and that's how she finds him.
Okay.
Because Xaden is Venin, and I don't think that her dreamwalking would be able to work on him. Berwyn could do it because he's a Venin, and I think Berwyn is Violet's balance to dreamwalking.
Okay. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Oh my God, I cannot wait to read this book. It hasn't even been written yet.
I know. In like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I would say 3 years for sure. All right, so that was our theories and predictions for books 4 and 5. But now we're going to share what we each rated our book. And like I mentioned before, like the three of us love this book. Like we had so much fun discussing it, but oddly enough, we rated them differently. So, Steph, Ethan, what did you guys rate Onyx Storm? What?
I'll go first. We can go in like ascending order.
Okay.
Sure.
So I intended to give this book a lower score because I feel like I enjoyed Iron Flame more, like the actual reading experience. I enjoyed Iron Flame more, I think, because it has some really like Violet badass moments, like when she endures torture and she gets through it. We see Dane grow, we see Xaden and Violet's relationship grow. Ultimately, I was going to give this book a 4, which is still a pretty good score, but I gave it a 4.5. Simply because I've said it before, I'm trying to reserve my 5 stars for like just wowie wow wow wow. And this was not the wowie wow wow for me, but I did still really enjoy this book, and I gave it a higher score than what I intended, simply because I had so much fun discussing it, and really diving in to the different topics, and the theories that we just did, right? Like you can see we're all really animated talking about our different ideas and theories. So yes, I gave it a 4.5, solid 4.5.
Okay, so I gave this one a 4.75. I loved this book. This is my favorite in the series so far. I really honestly, I do see how you can make the argument that it was kind of like slow to start up in the beginning, but I think that was an important plot point to just showcase like the leadership in Navarre is, I think, purposefully trying to hold Violet back from being, the ultimate savior that she's, obviously meant to be. And then especially the islands section, like I just gobbled up that whole section. I loved all the imagery and like how the world just opened up even more in that section and everything that happened. And like there's still like it even brought up even more mystery, so that was my absolute favorite part of the book. But I couldn't give this one a 5 because of the ending. Like I just really have a bone to pick with Rebecca Yarros for that freaking ending. And like I know there's probably more to all the different points of view that she gave, but they just came out of nowhere and they felt kind of weird and awkward to read through. And like I do want to give it some more time and go back through it, and I'm sure there's going to be some Easter eggs that we pick up on in like later books in those points of view sections, but it was a little off-putting for me to end the book that way. And then obviously I hate the cliffhanger that we're left on at the very end. So yeah, 4.75 was my final rating for this book.
All right, so for me, we've talked about this before, just kind of like how we rate things, and I do give a lot of 5-star ratings. I say a lot, but not every book I read is a 5-star rating, but I do give them out, I think, more frequently than Ethan and Stephanie do. This was a 5-star for me. I don't agree that Iron Flame was better, because to me it wasn't. It actually took me forever to get through the first half of Iron Flame because of how much I hated Violet's like consistent annoying whining, and so
She was very annoying.
Yeah.
To me, she did not
100%.
have that many badass moments. Like Iron Flame was just good because of Arisha. Anyways, so Onyx Storm. So I really loved this one because I loved Violet's character development. I loved everyone's character development. Even Zayden's, like, even though he turned Venom, like, he still had a lot of struggle there. And I think he really fought against it so hard. And to me, it was not a slow reading from the beginning. Like, literally for me, at least page 1, like, it was already action-packed. I really wanted to know what was going on with Andarna and Violet's conversation, like, from page 1. Like, to me, it just kept going. And I've said it before, like, for me, a 5-star rating book, I'm going to want to read it again. And I'm going to read this book at least several more times. Like, I already ordered the dramatized version of this audiobook. I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to reread this book. Like, even though I have a million other books on my TBR, this is still going to keep coming up because I want to just keep reading more of what Rebecca has in there because I know we missed a lot. So I loved it. I loved the Isle Kingdoms were fun for me. I think Umbriel was my favorite isle. Like, and yes, I hate the ending, but she leaves us on a freaking cliffhanger in every book. So that
every time, I know.
So that was to come. Like, we knew that was coming. So that, to me, that didn't like alter my rating for it. But yeah, that's what I think about Onyx Storm.
It was just for personal reasons. I couldn't give it the full 5.
That's completely fine. Hey, each to your own. Like, everybody
I'm
rates
just looking
things
at
different.
Like several years before we get any other book in the series.
I know,
and
seriously.
That makes me feel personally victimized.
All right, everyone. Well, that not only closes out our theories and predictions, that closes out our series for Onyx Storm. This is our final episode for Onyx Storm, and we enjoyed it so much, clearly. And we thank you all so much for joining this journey with us and commenting and telling us your theories. Please comment more and tell us what theories you vibe with, what theories you bond or break with. We would love to hear it. You can connect with us on Books Between Friends Pod, mostly on Instagram. We're also on TikTok too. Join us there.
Next on Books Between Friends podcast, we're kicking off a brand new adventure with A Darker Shade of Magic by B. Schwab. Get ready to step into a world of parallel Londons, mysterious magic, and a coat that's anything but ordinary. Join us as we meet unforgettable characters, dive into Schwab's enchanting writing, and share our first impressions of the spellbinding story. Trust us, you are going to want a passport for this one.
That's a wrap for Books Between Friends today. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next chapter.